I warned you. No. Do you not listen, Wade? Do you not listen to the podcast?
I know all about the song.
I haven't even listened to the one I'm
His
on.
brother made it.
Oh, hey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's my son's walk-up song now for baseball games.
No, it's not.
No.
Okay. I can send you the file if you want it to be.
Tempted now.
I sent it to Anthony. Anthony asked for the file because he said he wanted to make it my ringtone when I call, which I thought was great.
Kind of genius.
Yeah. So anyhow, if anybody wants the file to that audio track my brother made, and every time I tell him how much people like it, it really builds up his confidence.
Everyone's ringtone on their phone for you.
There we go.
Super pumped.
Yeah.
You're like, I hear Eric Pedigo calling me. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm really excited to do this. So I'm being joined today, Wade Ebert, Kelly Stotlar. Both of you have been on with me before, which is great. We can eliminate the get to know you.
Repeaters.
Yeah, because I had an idea, like I want to switch up the format a little bit and do some different things. And something I really wanted to do was get multiple realtors in the same room, same time, to just kind of talk about some stuff and go off the cuff a little bit and, pick each other's brains, whatever, tell some stories, wherever the conversation goes. So
Love it.
yeah, I don't care about how long you've been doing this or what your origin story is. We've worked past all that.
He's over
Full cowboy
He
now.
said nobody cares.
So now we are going to talk about just some general real estate topics, and feel free. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait for me to ask you a question. If you want to jump in. We'll just talk. So I had a few things that I wanted to bring up, and I also enlisted the help of AI for some other topics.
It's good for something.
I already don't like it, but go ahead.
Okay, well, that's one of them.
The general biscuit.
It is. No, it is. So that's one
What
of
do
the
you
things.
think? Oh.
And it was a topic supplied to me by AI is, are you guys using it at all in your business or to help out with anything? Are you guys utilizing AI?
I think we're too old for that.
You're not.
Bugos is using it.
Yeah.
I use it.
Listen, if
I'm older than you,
I
not
know.
you.
I don't.
If I'm reading a listing description, it takes me 4 syllables to say, friggin' AI.
Yeah.
Well, so some
It's
of those I read, I'm
disingenuous.
like, dang, this is really descriptive.
Yeah.
How are people this good at this? And then I'm like,
That's a
oh.
little much.
I'm like, there's a lot of big words in this paragraph.
I will say, throughout my career, something that I pride myself on is being overly descriptive in my listing, my marketing remarks.
Yeah, but
It's fun for me.
but you're specific, and AI is not specific, right?
No.
At least in my experience.
No. So it depends on what you plug in.
Okay, so
Right.
teach me. So when you are wanting them to write remarks for you,
Sure.
you have to give them certain things to talk about, or do you give them pictures and you're like, hey, tell me about it?
That too. So
okay.
I've got ChatGPT on my phone, and I put in a listing last night, and it was late, and my brain wasn't working well, and so I was like, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to see. I've never used AI to do marketing remarks before, so I said, help me write some marketing remarks. Here are a few pictures, and here are some highlights of the house. I said it's in this subdivision. This subdivision has these amenities. Mm-hmm. Here are the new features. Here are some of the cool things about the house. And it pumped me out a paragraph.
Wow.
That honestly, I felt like, well, that actually sounds like something I would have said.
Not so bad.
And so then I copy pasted, and then I went in and I altered a few things. I
Okay.
added a few things. So I didn't just use it to do the whole thing, but it helped me because you guys do that. I'm sure you do the same thing where you go to put in a listing and you're like, oh, what do I say about this? Like,
What do I say about
spacious.
this generic box?
Yeah.
that I'm gonna
Yeah.
sell?
Cozy.
Right. We all use the same exact, and it's just like,
Or if you, like, if one's not overly, like, if the ones that are overly improved, you're like, okay, I can talk about this for days.
Yes.
But the ones that are like, eh, you know, but you have to,
You gotta do
sell
something.
it.
And you really being snarky about it is impolite to your seller. You can't say step back into the 70s and
Yeah.
Blast from the
Your
past.
personal touches can make this better, you know, like,
Yes.
yeah, you got to be a little bit more like, all right, what am I going to talk about?
And how many times am I going to have to Google synonyms for large?
Big,
Yeah, you can't just say it's large backyard, large
Ginormous.
kitchen, large rooms, large closets.
oversized.
Right. Okay. Ample, spacious. You're right. You can only do that. It's so much. Where
you're
it's
better off keeping it simple, you guys.
Well, but like Kelly said, though, sometimes you get these listings and you go, okay, so tell me about the updates you've done, and they just go, I painted a room a couple years ago, and it's like, so that's it, right?
So you've been here for 10 years and you painted the living room.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
And surprise, we're going to sell it for $12,000 more dollars.
And that's
10 years? Oh my God, $20,000 more easy.
to sellers out there.
insane.
That's fine. Still call us,
Amen.
Absolutely.
but we
I
have to
love
get
it.
creative.
Yes.
We can't say nothing's been touched in a decade.
Yes.
You know, it's
So that's when you focus on the floor plan and the ginormous bedrooms.
Yeah,
Ample
spacious.
storage space. Things like that.
The things that attracted that buyer to that house, that's
you go.
always a good set of questions to
in
ask. Yeah.
in the area. Focus on where it is, the proximity, that kind of stuff.
So here's another thing. Do you think people actually read all those marketing remarks? Or they just look for dates? So I have clients that'll just look for dates. They'll
Yeah.
scan it and be like, oh, all right, done. They won't read it.
Not beginning to end, not like we want them to as the poets
You're like,
and
I
authors
worked
that
really
we
hard
are.
on that, and I bet nobody read it.
They look for, I think, keywords. You know, granite, quartz, tile. You know, new, and then the years, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mechanicals. They don't know what mechanicals are. You got to say. They don't even know what HVAC. You really need to say furnace.
You got to spell all that out.
conditioning.
You got to use
Really
all
do.
the characters that
And we
MLS
all
gives
do.
you.
So
And I'm guilty of cutting it short by using too many
Abbreviations.
industry specific words that we know what that means. And a lot of, we really are marketing to other realtors as well, so they can
Sure.
this one.
I think I remember you saying that once, Wade, in a conversation, that we're not really marketing to buyers with our words. We're kind of marketing to other realtors.
I mean, if I was really doing that directly, I'd be like, free case of wine, make this happen. Whatever.
But how often do we go through
Big
though?
drinkers, realtors, big drinkers, in case you didn't know.
False.
Livers.
Not us. How often do you go through and you've got the listing sheet and your buyer goes, so how old's the roof on this one? And it's right there. Roof is in 22. You know, like it's
Yeah.
right there. So they hadn't read it.
Right.
So that happens a lot. Some do. Some
And I think sometimes they'll look at a lot of them and then they'll be like, oh, I couldn't remember. And sometimes I read those too. And then I'm like, oh, which one? I'll look at 6 of those a day. And I'm like, wait, okay.
Here's
Yes.
the most embarrassing thing about the listing sheets. And people are like, oh, you didn't bring a listing sheet with you? And here's why I usually don't. I'll make them available. I'll hand that to them.
Yeah.
But if I have it in my hand and they ask me a question that I know the data is on there, I will look at all that tiny print and my brain will never remember where that data is. Right? You're like, where the hell?
Like,
And now you look like an idiot. How long you been a realtor?
Is this a gas fireplace?
This is my first
I'm
day.
like, what? I feel like they moved the fireplace thing because I can never
They
find it.
just, yeah.
I can never. Is this gas?
I don't know.
I'm looking
Let
at
me-
it.
let
It's
me
a
find it.
fireplace.
It's here somewhere.
There's some logs. Hold on.
When was this built? I'm like, yeah.
Okay, we are obviously all very incompetent. So maybe
Correct.
we do need
Maybe we
AI.
all need bifocals.
We just navigate so much data.
Yeah, true.
And the form that the data takes is it's in a
Let's get you a little closer, buddy.
It's in a form, if you will, a stratified, so we know where it should be, but every once in a while they move that around on the page.
Yeah.
Yes. But this might also be the 4th place I've been to that day with a 3rd client. And then I'm like, I don't want to say something. So then I'm like, well, let me double check because I think it's this.
Right.
And then I'm like,
Right. Sometimes I just go, yeah, I don't know. hold on, let me see. You know, like I haven't.
Correct.
I
I
haven't
think
read
it's
all
better
of
to
these
say
yet.
I'm not sure, or like, than to pretend you do and you know right where it is, So like, sometimes I'll just kind of make light of it, like you said. Like you're like, oh, it's here somewhere.
Yeah.
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 This is my first day doing this.
Thought I highlighted that this morning.
So sometimes I'll be like, sorry, it's my first day doing this, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, I'm just kidding.
Most
But-
people I find understand when you say I go through a lot of houses and I read a lot of these, so I just want to
Yes.
let me just double check and make
That's
sure
exactly
because
what
I
I
don't
say.
want to. I don't want to tell you something that's not
misspeak.
true.
Yes. So I'm always like, I'll just double check that real quick.
Well,
and then I can't find it.
I don't know that AI can help us with that,
Yeah. No.
but
no.
try it. Just try it for one.
Is it an app?
Yeah, it's an
this
app
is what
on
I
your phone.
don't even know.
Chat GPT. Just download it.
Okay.
It's super easy, and
Okay, I got to write remarks for one tomorrow. That
it's
it's
not
updated all over the place. So
just in general for life. It's super helpful. Like you just type in any question, like you would Google it, but it's more.
I've seen the roasting the pictures lately.
Oh, that's
it's a little
fun.
trend on
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, where you put a picture in of like your buddies, and then Chat GPT roasts every one of them in the picture.
Really?
And then you can set like how inappropriate it is to look like. Like you can do like, oh, just a semi inappropriate, or you can be like, yeah, just let them have it. So
Yeah.
I've seen some funny ones.
It's good for that stuff. Like I named mine Chad. It's easy to remember.
I
So
was gonna say.
Chad and I had a pretty good LeBron Jordan debate going. So
Oh,
Yeah.
who won that?
Did you?
Me, I always
Did you ask Chad to debate you about LeBron?
yeah,
James?
I asked Chad what he thought. I said,
So what did he think?
it was tough for him. He kind of gave the edge to Jordan because of the 6-0 in the finals. But then when we really got into all the stats and longevity, we discovered together that it was a little bit tougher to really
Did
truly
you ask him
identify
about
the
the
number
flops though?
one. Yeah, we both think that that's an overrated, kind of blown out of proportion thing.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. We can do a different sports podcast if you guys want.
Yeah,
That's,
I'm in.
I don't even know.
I watch all these clips all the
I
time
don't
of
even
him
know what the
flopping
flops
everywhere.
is.
So, yeah.
Is
yeah.
that something I need to know?
He's a big baby. LeBron James, big baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
All right.
Got it.
That's
New
enough.
topic.
That's enough Stotlar.
Next
All right.
topic.
Okay.
Eric Pedigo must be a LeBron James
I
fan.
love LeBron. I also love Michael Jordan. I'm wearing Jordans right now. I love them both.
I love Michael
It's
Jordan.
okay. I can.
You know what? Everybody's an athlete. They hustle to get there.
There you
and,
go.
You know.
Your
so.
girl's still playing softball?
I have one that plays softball. The other one was like, this sucks. I'm never playing again. So.
Were you a mean coach?
Oh, I never coached that. No. Nope.
Were you the mom that was there with everybody else in the bleachers, or were you
Yes.
out in like left field fence so you could,
Well, we just bring left field fence to the bleachers.
Okay.
So that's
Were
what-
you a player though?
I did. I played a long time.
And you're telling me that you were a player and you weren't a coach to your kid?
Well, I didn't coach softball. I coached volleyball for a long time.
Okay.
Coached both girls in volleyball.
We already did this, Wade, in the
Yeah.
Getting to Know
There is
Kelly
not a get to
episode.
know
You
each
got to
other
listen to this
podcast.
podcast every now and then. Come on.
Eric does not want to talk about that again.
Okay.
He's like, we don't care about your kids' sports.
I do. That's not
We
true.
got
I
it.
would never say that
All right.
to your face.
All right. Real estate. Go. What else you got?
But nobody else cares either.
All right. Well, use it. I also used, just to tie up this loose end, I also used it for like some good marketing ideas. And it knows, I told it that I do this, I do these broadcasts, I like to make content.
Okay.
And it integrated that and gave me some pretty good ideas moving forward. So some that I plan on implementing. So I'm telling you, it can be very helpful.
Guess what I'm going to do tonight?
Download it.
I'm going to play with Chat GPT.
Do it.
I'm going to get my marketing remarks done.
There you go.
So
Just try it. And if you don't like it, delete the app.
I'm going to put your picture in there and see what it says.
roast
about it.
Eric.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
Make him part of
I already
this.
did that. He had trouble.
What is this picture of this guy in the middle of the
Yeah.
listing pits?
He's like, honestly, I'm finding I'm
Chad's
finding
like,
it real
that's
hard.
a good looking
Yeah.
guy right there. That's what Chad says.
Listing remarks brought to you by this guy and Chad.
All right, you two. I knew this was going to be.
I know.
I knew this was
really,
going to
when
be
you
trouble.
sent out, like, I'm going to have small groups, I was like, this is going to be like redirecting 8,000 times, like having kindergartners.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean, you knew what you were getting into. So.
I asked for this, and specifically, I got you two scheduled on the same day.
Yeah. See, Jamie probably would have mellowed it out a little bit.
Yes.
And then now it's just a loose cannon here. So.
That's all right. We can just go ricocheting off all the walls in here, whatever. All right. Question: is the market still going crazy? right? I mean, you remember, obviously, we all remember right after COVID when things were nuts. But how is the market now compared to, say, 2022?
I feel like I'm accustomed to it now. Like, some of when this started was the shock of it. Like, oh my gosh, it's never been like this before. There's never been low inventory. There's never been escalation clauses. Like when the escalation clause, when I started using that, it'd been in MLS docs for however long. I didn't even know it existed.
We learned last week that it's been there since 2016.
Right. So we started pulling this out in 20.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. I didn't even know this existed. This is awesome. I'm freaking using this on everything. And now everybody uses it. So like a lot of that, I think, was the shock of all of the newness of it. And now I'm just like, oh, okay, I gotta, I lost a deal. I offered 10 over asking and a $5,000 appraisal gap, and I lost it.
Not even close.
I got blown out of the water. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like how are people so crazy?
It's not so much when you lose one as that you feel like the listing agent is laughing at you really hard for how pathetic your offer really was.
This is terrible.
And they're not even totally
how
honest
did you
with
even
you.
write this?
Right. I need that type of like abuse.
Yeah.
I need to know
you can
how
do better.
bad I got my ass kicked.
Yeah, they need to grade it.
Yeah.
They need to grade it.
We should, yeah.
Mark it up to red pen and be like, this could have been better. This could have been better.
Because your buyer's going to say, they want to know.
Yeah.
Because they might be in their first or second offer and they have no idea the ridiculousness of.
So here's the thing with the ridiculousness is I'm in the business to have repeat clients, which I feel both of you are too.
Yes.
Okay. So
it's why we're still in the business.
Yes. But part of that is trying to keep your buyers from doing stupid stuff.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Some of that stupid stuff is way overpaying for a home.
That's
like
correct.
if they are insistent, they've got cash out the wazoo, they want to do this, there's no stopping them. Okay, cool. I'll write it up for you.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want me to. So you have young kids though that they have no idea what their life's going to be like in 2 years. And you're going to sell them a home. They might have 3 kids. They might have triplets. They've got to move. Oh, they just paid $25,000 more than that house is worth.
Right.
And again, it is their choice.
Right.
I can't encourage it though to win a deal.
The best thing you can do, or the only thing we can do, is educate them and let them know. I will do. I'm working for you. I will do whatever you want me to do. However, I need you to know and understand what it is that we're doing in the situation you're potentially putting yourself in.
Exactly.
Now, if you know all that and you still want to move forward,
perfect.
I
can sleep at night doing that.
Yeah. Yes.
But I can't sleep at night being like, this is a good idea. You should do this.
Yeah. If I'm like, ooh, I do love those light fixtures. Let's do it.
Put $20,000 appraisal gap on there. That's a really good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a $150,000 house. Like, I'm like, I can't do that. And I can't tell someone I think it's a really good idea. If they're like, what do you think I should do? I'm like, well, I think you should offer over asking. I think you should offer some appraisal gap because that would be fair to your seller to say, hey, I'm willing to pay more than it appraises for. I understand I'm offering more. There could be an appraisal issue. I'm willing to cover some of that.
Yeah.
But some of the craziness I see, I'm like, ooh. And again, I've had buyers that I've worked for that do crazy. You know,
yeah,
sure.
Open-ended appraisal gaps, things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, you realize like if this appraises for this is what you're signing up to bring. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
as long as they understand.
Yes.
It's not our job to make up their minds for them.
Yeah. So when I do lose ones that are like I get blown out of the water because someone pays $30,000 over the asking and they pay an open-ended appraisal gap for a 2-bedroom house.
And you get that contract back with a C+ on it. You're like, oh.
You know what? But like even that, I'm like, you know what? I feel like we made a really good offer.
Yeah.
And there was someone that just wanted it a whole lot more than us that had the means to even do it.
Right.
And I'm like, and that is fine. Like I can sleep at night. My buyer was at peace with it.
Where are all these people coming from who are buying 2-bedroom homes for way over asking?
Yeah.
Where? And they're like, oh, we lost out to a cash offer.
Yeah, everybody's got
at
cash.
100 and whatever, like 140, and they brought $140,000 cash money, stroked a check for it. What are they doing? Are they renting those houses? Are they coming in from out of market?
Some of
Is
them
that
are
what we're-
investors that do have
Sure.
cash, but then there's others I've heard
And we had that for a while. Do we have
cashing
that
in
again?
their 401ks,
And just downsizing?
borrowing from grandma.
There's that. There are people who borrow against their current mortgage. If they've got if they have a lot of equity in the home that they own, they'll borrow against that, and so they can present it as a cash offer, and then buy the house, put their last house on the market, and use those proceeds to then pay. It's people got really creative when the market got really competitive.
Yeah.
And I do feel like we are still seeing some of that. I feel like it's cooled down a little. It's not quite like it was, right? We got 45 showings in a day and a half, and
I think some
20
of that
offers.
is the higher interest rate than it was obviously
Right.
in 2020 or 19 or whenever that was. Is you had that really low interest rate, and so everybody is selling, everyone's buying,
Right.
Yes.
And
then
you can go ahead and keep asking about that interest rate and when it's going to go down. But it's not.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
So, but I also think that's obviously caused some of the inventory issue.
Right.
And then so when these homes do come up, there's still buyers willing to buy them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I gotta have it. And don't you think sometimes like our generation is so used to instant gratification, they don't want to wait for stuff.
Yeah.
Like the having to wait or having to like, I need this now. Like we have to get it now.
Yeah.
Like you not knowing when the next home's going to come available. Things like that. Like, especially younger people, like I see them like, and I'm like, why?
Very impulsive.
I'm like, you live with your parents.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
okay.
we've got time. Like, I understand. Like, I would want out too. I would. But like, we have plenty of time. Like, but they're like, we gotta go. We gotta get it.
It's hard to manage that because you're right. It's very impulsive, and part of it is we're in the instant gratification like day and age. Everything's at the
everything
touch
is-
of a button.
When you're talking to your clients, do you do like I do? I tell them I'm going to Big Brother them. And if they're out of line, I'm going to stop right now. We're going to have that conversation.
Yes. And I do that too. And sometimes I'm like, gosh, I feel like I'm like acting like a mom, because I'm like,
It's your job.
Yes, it is, and even with clients that are older than me, I'm like, and some of it is I never want to act like I don't understand how they feel. And some of it I don't. I do this every day, all day. Like it's like nonchalant sometimes for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I don't have all the nerves like that our buyers and sellers do.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because I do this every day.
It's our job.
Right.
I have to like reset and be like, okay, like they have only done this twice their whole life.
Right.
Like I have to understand that their nerves are a little.
They don't know what HVAC stands for.
So
Yeah.
my job is to
callback.
reassure and be like, hey, I got this.
Yeah.
And constantly be in contact. This is what's next. This is what's next. This is what's next. And that like alleviates some of that.
I always just tell them I don't say I'm going to big brother you, which is a way, but I always just say I'm looking out for your money. Just so you know,
Looking out for you,
That's
your
something.
money,
Yeah, that's
what
something
you're-
everybody can relate to.
You're in charge of more than their money. You're in charge of the looking forward as you described, because
Yeah.
some of these folks are paying too much and they're selling their equity.
Yeah.
They're paying
Right
the
away.
seller 2-3 years of the equity
Yes.
they otherwise would have garnered. And you're also looking out for their peace of mind going forward.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't discount
Oh, I don't.
just to dollars.
I
It's
don't.
way more important.
But that's a
than
way to cut right through to it.
Yeah.
Because everybody can quickly
relate
say,
to that.
where I can just say, hey, listen, you're emotional, you're going all over the place. I'm focusing on your investment.
Sure.
And what's going to be good for you going forward financially. That's what I'm trying. And so
And sometimes when you give them those situations,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, you're 25 and, I know you're planning on being here and you're going to do this, but like, what if life happens? And what if you get offered a too good to be true job and you have to move to Chicago
Right.
or somewhere? Like you have no idea like
then you
what's
call
going to
me,
happen.
you call me and say, I need to get this sold. And
And I'm like, you paid $40,000 more than what it's worth.
Right. And that's something everybody's dealing with right now. And so that leads me to the next thing that ChatGPT sent to me, which was, how are you dealing with buyer and seller psychology?
Oh, Chad.
these days. Chad was on it today. And my thought on that was, we were all doing this before the craziness happened.
Sure.
Right? So we can remember pre-COVID real estate where somebody wanted to buy a new house and they had a house to sell. Hey, no problem. Put your house on the market. We've got some time.
We'll put that contingency in there to list and sell yours, and they'll say, "Okay, that's great."
Yeah, fine.
goodness.
Yeah, we've
Do you
got
remember
time.
those days?
Oh my goodness.
We've got 25 houses I can show you that all kind of fit what you're looking for.
I go see 8 or 9 at a time.
Yeah,
Those were the days.
Those were the days. And so we lived through that. And so there are people out there, buyers and sellers, who to them, that's still what buying a house or selling a house is.
Yeah.
So now when they call you, they're in the mindset of, all right, yeah, I like that one. What do you think? We could come in maybe 20 grand under asking. We can,
Do you think there's any wiggle room? No, it came up 3 hours ago.
Yeah, yes. And that's,
No, so we can perfectly keep an eye on it.
yeah,
And then if nothing happens, we can reach out in a week or two and say, "Hey, what's shaking?
right. And they have that mentality
Hey,
of,
what's wrong with this?
Why didn't it sell in 48 hours? What's going on?"
like, I'm not going to pay asking price for anything. It's like, okay, so I guess buyers first, how do you guys address that situation with a buyer who goes in with that mentality? I'm like, well, I wouldn't mind. Why would I give them what they're asking? This is a house.
Yeah.
This is a negotiation.
I think some of our job is to educate them from the first day. And sometimes we get a bad rep, of course. So if they already come in thinking that we're a salesperson, we're going to try and sell them something type of thing, like they're very hesitant about believing exactly what you're telling them until it happens. So, your buyer may have to lose 1 or 2 or 5.
Yeah.
10.
Which is why we love repeat business, because we don't so much have to re-educate. They know we're looking out for their interests in that
Yes.
way.
Or a personal, like a friend has referred them and
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, da, 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 da." So like when you have those connections, they tend to trust you a little bit more. But I've had a few that I'm like, "Hey, this is how this is going to work." Okay, well, we'll just see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So, and then I go
they
back
don't
and I
listen.
say, "Hey, this
At
is
first, they
this is
don't
why
listen.
we lost this offer." Oh, yeah.
And isn't the worst thing the moment you get a new buyer or new to you buyer, and you walk into the house, and honestly, this house is a win,
Yeah.
and you want to tell them, "Oh my God." So seldom doesn't happen. Like, this never happens, but I'm telling you. If you're going to buy a house from somebody, buy it from somebody who has OCD like this person
Yes.
does, right?
There might be wallpaper
Buy
on
it,
that
buy
wall,
it.
but this is it.
And then they pass, or someone else buys it out from under them, and then
drag
6
their
months later,
feet,
you're
yeah.
oh my God, you're
Yeah.
looking through the
the one that got away.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's those conversations when they do pull the trigger on that one. When it's somebody you don't know, it's a referral, and you meet them for the first time. You take them out one day, you show them 3 houses, they put in an offer, they get one, and then they go, "How much are you making for this?" Like, this is
I've never been asked.
well, now they have to know how much we're making for this. That's the new rule.
Yeah. No, I've never, sometimes I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like even when we take a listing
They
and
go,
we sell
"This-
it the very
yeah.
first day on the market.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, I just
go,
popped
so-
you 3% for that." But I mean, there's a lot of work up to that point. There is after that point.
Yes.
But
That's a lot more justifiable when it's like,
When you're running around with the buyer.
The listing, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But if you meet somebody one day, take them through a couple houses,
yeah. Or just one.
write a clean offer. This just happened to me. I mean, thankfully, this person, he was saying it, a little bit in jest, super nice guy. But I had met him, it was the first day I met him. He bought new construction. So it was
Yeah.
so clean and so easy.
You didn't have to pick it apart.
And you guys know what new construction costs these days. So
Yeah.
he's like, well, that's pretty easy for you, huh? And I was like, I mean,
You should say it makes up for like the 85 I had before this
Yes.
that
Right.
didn't buy anything.
And did you remind him that they force us to take a little bit less commission on these new builds?
No, they don't.
Okay,
we're going to
You
get
didn't
into
split 5?
we're going to get into that.
you didn't split 5?
No.
Really? Oh,
I asked
all
for
right.
what I wanted and I got it.
Oh, on your own. Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
Oh, I haven't done a new construction with the new form yet.
Yeah, so you have the new form
Yeah.
now. You can
No, I
say,
like that.
Yeah.
I'd like this.
I mean, honestly, it's like, come on, you guys. It's like we. This is, clearly this isn't the hardest job in the world, but
I think
the
it is.
our set of experiences,
Hardest in the world is.
our set of
not easy.
experience
Yeah.
combined with our ability to network and our skill set is not singularly unique, but it is damn close.
Yes.
I mean, if someone can tell me, "Hey, Chad,
Be careful. He's
I'm
listening.
a realtor
bring him
now.
up.
What could I do next?" And they'd be like, "Oh, you could be a radio DJ." You know,
What? Yeah.
That's a good.
A lot of money in that.
Yeah.
But I did remind him. Anytime you have one of those, I always say, trust me, this is the exception, not the rule. If they all went like this, I wouldn't have a job. You wouldn't need realtors if they all were that clean and
Yeah.
easy.
And here's the other thing that I love this when this happens. You get a deal, and the listing agent tells you, and this may be a surprise to the folks out there. Every once in a while, the listing agent says, "Look, you didn't bring the best deal,
Yeah.
but I told the seller you're the best realtor we have to work with."
Oh yeah.
And that happens. And it really is about, you show up, you bring the skills, you bring you're going to be there, you're going to be responsive, you're going to answer the phone, you're going to be responsive, you're not
Absolutely.
going to be a jackhole, you're going to be prompt, you're going to handle the situations and not be a jerk about it.
Yeah.
And that's what those are
fair.
the folks we
And
like
fair.
to,
Yeah.
those make the transactions get down the road. And there could be, otherwise, sometimes things go sideways. And the horror stories of two moving trucks parked in a title company parking lot and it not closing, and now everyone's going to stay in a hotel for a few days because someone didn't manage the financing properly or
Yeah.
somebody did. And we touch on all of that. Our job is to make sure that all of those things are lining up, and we Jenga all those things together and
All the moving pieces.
don't topple the tower.
Right. Right. And those are things that good realtors bring to the table that clients who have used us repeatedly understand and don't second guess. And those are the things that we try to get out there, the people who are hesitant to hire a realtor, that we try to explain to them, like, no, trust me, I bring, there's a reason, and I've said this so many times on here, Wade, you'd know if you listened, that over 90% of transactions involve a realtor.
Yeah, yeah.
And of the people who use realtors, over 90% come back and use them again. Like, that
Because
is
they see the value of
that's
it.
a crazy high return rate. I mean, in something that is totally optional. Nobody has to use us. Nobody has to call us.
No.
But if we didn't bring value to the table, why are so many people using us and using us again and again and again? I mean, it's inarguable.
Yeah.
I mean, the stats are there. The numbers prove it.
Yeah.
That
They
people
know
feel.
we just take it and handle it. And
Yeah.
there's no problems. And they show up and close. And I mean, that's how I handle it.
Yeah.
I don't contact my client unless there's something I can't fix. There might be something for 3 days and I'm working on. I'm like, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh.
It's
Yes.
I'm like,
Well, and
I'm not saying anything until I can't fix it.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
I'm like, hey, we have a little problem,
thing,
but here's
yeah.
what I've done, to try and fix it.
They've got enough to worry about.
And we've all done this long enough that you know the personality types that you're going to let them know right away.
Oh,
Yes.
Or the ones you're like, they're too stressed out. They have 8 kids at home. They've got all these other things going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to handle this until I can't, until I have to say something. And then I'm going to make
But I
sure.
feel like I would have to contact a client every single time that something just went a little awry,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to.
No way. Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything until I know, like, I can't do anything about it and I need to know what they want me to do, type of thing. But until that point, like, I handle with the other agent. I mean, I'm not going to drag something out for 2 weeks by
Sure.
any means, but if it's like a day or two and, hey, I'm not getting anywhere on this, all right, we need to make a decision,
Right.
then I feel that's appropriate.
And it's the same way, like if an inspection happens and you get a repair addendum lands on your desk and it's a bit of a nightmare. Before you call your seller and say, hey, here's what we have, And, the first thing I do anyway is I start making calls to contractors and, and just to get other eyeballs on it. And so that way, when I do call my client, and it's all same day, of course, I'm not dragging that out for days.
No.
When I do call my client, I go, okay, here's what we have. Now, I've already reached out to this person, this person, this person. They're going to come take a look at it. They're going to tell us what we're really working with. It's you show them that you're already working on a solution.
You have a path to resolution.
Yes.
Well, and I think that keeps the panic down. I think there's too many agents in our business that would just have received that repair addendum and hit the forward.
Yes. Ugh.
And then no. So you're a normal everyday person. You pull that up and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's reasonable. This is dumb. We're not even going to, we're not even going to entertain that. Okay. Yeah. This. Okay. Well, we could have someone do all this and maybe it'll be this, but hey, we'll get a quote, da, da, da. So, but I think our job is to not have the panic.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if we're panicking, then how are our clients feeling? Right?
Yes.
No, we have to be the calming presence, and we have to have the answers of how do we move forward from
and
this.
even when I panic, that's when I rely on my other realtor friends.
Yes.
I mean, I've been doing this 16 years, and I still pick up the phone and call friends of mine and say, "Hey,
do you got a second?
What do you think of this?
I just need to tell somebody this story.
I just need to talk this out." Oh my God. And I might already have a plan in my mind of how I'm going to handle it, but I need to bounce it off someone else before and there might be something I didn't think of.
Yeah.
Someone else will have a different opinion, or they'll be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I'm like, okay, I just needed that little reassurance and here we go. So,
well, I mean, but yeah,
I notice you've never called me for advice on that.
Yeah, same. I was thinking the same exact thing. Okay, so we're not on Kelly's list.
Usually girlfriends.
Of people to bounce things off of. No, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. You
guys aren't in my group chat, the girlfriends.
I usually just dial a mic if I've got a problem.
There you go.
I feel like the mics have a lot to handle.
Yeah.
I don't bother the mics unless
it's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Look, if I
knock on wood, I don't think I've had to call them with a problem.
I really do believe, and maybe this is just my personal belief, that I have an exceptionally weird customer base. With exceptionally weird situations that come up, and it wouldn't stands to reason, right?
Yes.
And I call the mics with the weird questions. All right, so, or a story. Okay, here's what happened, and they're like, "Oh God." Okay, but we're not getting sued. No, we're fine.
Are we getting sued? No. Okay. Then.
No, we're not.
Are
getting
you
sued.
sure?
Yeah.
Continue.
You have to lead with that when you call, right? Not build up to whether we are or we're not.
And this guy's last name was Madigan.
Wait, you can't say anything. I have to delete out of here because I'm not big on editing. Ask Kelly; she doesn't even have a video from her personal podcast.
No, you didn't edit out the whole fiasco in the middle too. We're like, is this on? Is this even working?
Yeah, no, I kept that in there.
I know. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, yeah. It's all right. I don't mind.
We're like, all right, we'll wing it.
It's a very real podcast.
He was like, I am not redoing this with you. You've been here for 40 minutes. We are not redoing.
We're not starting over. Okay. So I feel like we got into how we deal with the buyer psychology and getting them up to speed on how things go now. So let's switch over to seller psychology and see how that goes. Because I go into people's houses, they want to list, they haven't sold a house in 20 years, and I pull the comps, I give them the price. And even in this market where things are going for way more, they always want to go up here instead of where I said, which is still a good number.
Let's start at that top dollar. And I'm
Let's
like, no.
give ourselves room to come down a little bit. And so now teaching them how the market works these days, where we don't build in that wiggle room now. Now we put the number out there that gets people in the door.
Yes, I still operate like that.
You're setting yourself up for a fight.
I have one going on the market today over off West Lawrence, so a nice area. It'll be a hot property.
Aren't you going to tell us a little bit more about that in case we have buyers?
Yeah, I'll do it. When we do the commercial break, I'll do an ad for it.
Oh, is there a commercial break coming? Hold on. Let me check my No,
I sponsored it. What the heck?
You did? I'm still waiting for that check to clear.
Anywho, you know, the comps top out over there, you know, like the most recent sales of that square footage and beds,
Sure.
baths, you know, 250 or whatever, but it didn't start at 250. You know, they got to that probably with multiple offers and things like that. And I'm like, well, we still need to be in this 240 range.
Right.
239.9 is what it'll be.
Okay.
So, and
Looking
here's the
forward to
thing:
it.
you educate your sellers. You
Spacious,
say this is
large rooms.
yes,
large yard.
all the adjectives. I wrote those last night, and I was
High
sober the
ceilings,
whole time too.
low floors.
So, anywho, like I think our job again is to educate them and say,
Yes.
hey, this is what I recommend. So this comp sold for this, but this is where they started at, and this is, you know, like you explain everything. And actually, like I put it in a group text. I have husband and wife on it, me, like we all are in the know. I put it in a text. They can reread it, make sure they understand whatever, ask me questions. You know, it's not just a phone call with one of them and then one of them's having to tell the other one and they're like, oh, you know, it's just all right there. It's in writing type of thing. I explain it and I say, this is what I think. This will get people in the door.
Yes.
Like this is going to keep you competitive. People will be in, and then maybe we'll get to that. I don't promise.
That's good.
Never
That's where I
promise.
was going to next.
You
right?
never promise that the multiple offers are coming, the over asking is coming. Because as soon as you do, it seems like it'd be crickets. And you're like,
It's crazy.
it's the worst. So you don't put in the marketing remarks, accepting, you know, deadline for offers this date, because
So
you know that
presumptuous.
is
Yeah.
obviously going to backfire.
Yes.
So, but anywho, I think like you said, just conservative and let your buyers do the work. So
What I always try to tell people now is they want to be up here, and I want something realistic. And because I'm trying to sell their house.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing for me to get across sometimes is how in this market you're not going to leave money on the table if you price it right. They don't. Well, I don't want to give it away. I say no. We're not going to.
Right.
The only way to leave money on the table is, well, there's a few, but one, you price it so high that nobody comes to look and they wait for you to start dropping it, and then you get that stale stigma house on the market.
Oh, stigma house.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the presentation is so lousy. And I've got a story about that maybe I'll tell you guys off the air. I don't want to offend anybody. But it works out good for my buyers because this is a gem of a house.
Yeah.
that nobody bought.
Yes.
That they're going to get a good deal on because the listing presentation
I've
was
had
really
that
bad.
happen. iPhone pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Did not look good. And
Hey.
we walk in, I'm like,
You know what? They're not listening. The house itself, iPhone pictures for sure.
yeah.
The strangest angles. They're
Yes.
right.
Here's
Clutter.
a picture of the sink.
Yes, clutter everywhere. Toilet seats open.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple pictures of a kitchen from a different house that aren't as nice.
It's
And
Oh boy.
my people are like, why is this still on the market? And, I I was like, I don't know. I'll go home and do some research, see what's going on.
Do you like it? Let's
And I
make an
pulled
offer,
it up,
'cause
and now the people have moved out. It's vacant. The finishes are nice. The house is nice, but it's been sitting on the market for such a long time. And I pulled the listing up, and I went, oh, the listing presentation is so bad.
Like people don't feel warm and fuzzy. They
Yeah.
don't want to go look at it.
oh,
right.
that's horrifying.
Yeah,
From a
good for my people,
that is, but
but
but isn't that disappointing? I mean,
yeah.
you lose faith in your fellow.
Yeah, and I don't want to say
your
too
colleagues.
much more, but
Jesus.
that's the situation. But the larger point is presentation is very important. I know it seems like houses now you can stick a sign in the yard and
they sell.
drive off, and by the
No.
time you get home to load it into the system, you got 5 offers. It's changed a little bit since then. A little bit since then.
Your online presentation is everything.
Huge.
Everything.
Huge.
And I had 2 yesterday, and Jamie Graff was going to be there at 12:30 at one and 1:30 at the other. And, I was at the first one at 11:45.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not that I don't trust my sellers that they do what I ask them to do, but I feel like it's also my job to make sure that this is exactly the way I want it to look when
Right.
it is photographed, right?
Yes.
I want the blinds open. I want the curtains open. If there's some random little thing sitting out, if mom left her bra hanging on the door on accident, I'm like, yeah, we're going to tuck that. You know what I mean? Like there's just little things like that sellers are they're busy, you know,
Yeah.
they're trying to get kids out of the house, they're doing whatever, and there just might be a couple little things, and I'm like, that's my job to follow up, right?
That's our job.
Yes.
I mean, that's part of our
Because
job.
when those pictures hit the internet,
They're there
that is
forever.
the best that house is ever going to
Oh my
look.
God,
Yes.
absolutely.
Ever gonna look, right? There might, for showings, there might be some kids' toys out, stuff like that, you know, but at that moment, and these buyers see this online and they say, yes, this is exciting. I want to look at it.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yes. No, that's everything. So,
So, I mean, I will put all the time and effort to do that, pull weeds in the front yard. I was doing that yesterday too, in the landscaping.
you heard that, everybody. Kelly
Yeah,
Stotlar
I
will
pull
your
weeds. I pull weeds. So these guys don't. So
I go, hey,
I
you're gonna
ran a mower the other day. At
Oh,
a
look
client
at you
house.
go.
You
go,
kidding me?
hey, you're going to
Nice.
need to get a mower over here and find somebody to pull these weeds. I got,
the guy whose family owns a sod company.
there's a reason I got out of that business and
'Cause
into
it's not
this one.
fun.
I did enough of that in my life.
Can I of operational note, have you seen the little Fiskars weed pulling tool?
I have.
Yeah.
Oh my
Should I
God.
get one and put it in my trunk?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're a
With the
weed
rolls
puller.
of toilet paper that I have. For,
It's-
you never know. So
Listen, I've got
I'll put it in my tool bag
a big
with
cotton tarp in the back of my truck.
for the
I
bodies.
I mean, it's
Instead of toilet
it's
paper.
useful for things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did take out the concrete blocks and the wire hangers. That was for a different lifespan back in the day.
When I used to be a hitman before I got into real estate.
I'm glad you know what the wire hangers are for. Good for you.
I might watch ID Discovery.
This is all right. Every now and then I can just lean back and let you guys go for a little bit and see where
Talk
it
about
ends
our
up.
previous lives.
And that's okay. I don't mind that at all. Is there something that you wish you would have known year one in real estate that you know now that you could pass on to newer agents?
It's a good topic.
Yeah.
Did Chad give you that?
Chad did.
a good
He
one.
was on it today.
Yeah, he
Chad
was.
woke. I must have had a strong cup
So-
of coffee because he came with the ideas.
So year one, I was still a teacher, so I was doing both. So my view might be a little skewed as far as, you know, I wasn't doing this all day, every day type of thing.
Right.
But trying to, and I think I just called Cindy Grady 8,000 times a day, and I was like, what is this? What do you do here? What do I do with this? Pat Grady took me to breakfast, and he showed me how to fill in a contract, and I would keep that with me, and I would go to every appointment.
It's like a template.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm like,
Smart.
I can't remember, like, how many days do I put on inspection addendum, and what do I put here and here and here? And so it kind of jog your memory somewhat, but like, I'm like, I do not want to make a mistake.
Right.
Right? Do not want to make a mistake. So, I mean, something I wish I knew, or, you know, was like the group offers all these training things like that, the coffee and questions, things like
Yes.
that. Like, if there was opportunities like that, and I think there probably was, I maybe just didn't know about it, just to be able to learn. You know, you get licensed. We talked about this before, and they're like, here you go.
Yeah.
See ya, go sell some stuff. You have no idea.
So advice to first year agents is tap into all the resources you can.
Don't be lazy. Go to the
Sure,
things.
yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and I understand sometimes money's tight and you can't always pay to go to a conference or things like that.
Sure.
But there are people that are willing to teach you if you ask them.
Yep.
Right. And so I did feel guilty all the time because Cindy Grady's got kids, and, you know, and she's running her own business. And I'm like, man, I feel bad, like calling her and being like, hey, like how do I respond to this repair addendum?
Yeah.
And you know what? And she had the patience and the willingness to teach me, you know.
Sure.
All the Grady's did, really. But like, there are people that will help. Like,
So many. Yeah.
yeah.
It can't be understated how many fellow realtors there are that are so willing to help and just give some guidance. And these are people that you are in direct competition with,
Yeah.
yet so willing to just share their knowledge and their experiences with you. And there's so many. And to me, if I would have known that a little bit more, because I came in, you know, kind of like,
Competitive.
yeah, right. These are all
No, I
my
get it, yeah.
competitors,
The
you know.
enemies.
Yeah, and not not from a personal level so much,
I
but
get
from
it.
a, you know, so
Yeah.
I sure didn't
I
think
can't
that.
give away all my secrets or my,
Right,
you know,
right.
I can't look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
You
But I
know?
sure didn't think that I could lean on people as much as you can. Like,
Yeah.
it's out there. You can get some help. And so I always offer it up when I talk to a new agent.
I do too.
I always offer it up. You got my number, call me. If you need anything at all, call me. I'll gladly help you.
I do too.
I mean, honestly, the same. The resources available they are people. It is this is a human resources industry.
Yeah.
You rely on your friends, your compatriots, to provide you paths toward the information and processes to make the system work properly. And the sit downs with the coffee and questions and those are absolutely invaluable. They don't cost you anything. Perfect example. All those conferences out of town, that's great and all that rah-rah.
Yeah. It's a good
Just
motivator.
get with the people who are local in your market and always connect. Any opportunity you have to connect. If you're standing in the hallway, I used to think, oh, that's kind of cheesy. Hey, Kelly, I've got a 3-2 ranch coming up in Sherwood. And she's like, I've got
you really?
5 buyers for that. Right. I mean,
But when you go back to it and you were just talking about when you're in multiple offers and the agent comes to you and says, hey, I like how you do your business.
Yeah.
I've worked with you before and you're not a head case.
going to show up.
We're
do the
going to
work.
counter your buyer instead of going to all these. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's
Like,
totally, you can totally do that. That's
but
a
it is
thing, right?
100%
Yeah.
Right.
reliable on your relationships with other agents. And some of that is attending the functions here and being like, all right, maybe I'm not a big partier, but like I need to go and mingle with people.
Right. Yes.
Like I'm going to go mingle. I'm going to get to know my coworkers because that's going to benefit my clients and it's going to benefit me in the future.
And getting the best, giving the best care to both your buyers and sellers has to do with relationships all the way around.
Yes.
Period.
That is,
It's not numbers.
yeah.
It is people.
that's such
And
good
numbers.
advice for a new agent.
Yeah.
It's such good advice.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
integrate
and I'm the
yourself.
same. I like put a kid in. Let's go. Roll with me for a day.
Yeah.
When I was in one of my previous lives, the hitman was in between there.
Before.
The actual job that the FBI knew about.
I'll edit that
Was
out.
when
I'll try
one
my
you have
fir-
to-
I'll try
I-
my hand at
the one
editing
you
for
pay
the first
taxes
time.
on.
I owned a collision repair shop with my dad. Worked with my dad for, oh my gosh, almost 25 years. I was in that business. And one of my good customers was John B. Clark.
Oh, yeah.
And John B. would come in. He'd say, son, could you give me a ride home? I had to drop this car off. I need a couple little things done.
Sure thing, John B.
Oh, so good. And then we would roll around town. He goes, you know what, take a left here. I want to show you something. And then we would go and we would take the path that he wanted because
Oh,
he
that's
was
so cool.
right. And so I got a lot of time driving around with John B. and asking him questions about life and business and real estate and all that. And what a great way to connect. And he was the first guy who said, you know, if you ever want a future in real estate, you need to come talk to me.
There you go.
I love that guy.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So in
here you
all
are.
those things, yeah, I mean, many years later, oh, yeah, it was great. Listen, nothing was sweeter to me than when the old man was in the building and you'd run into him. And everyone, and when I
He'd
first,
sit in the lounge here and read the paper.
oh, hell, when I first came on full time, we had Lake House, broker open.
Oh, yeah.
And I rolled with John B.
Oh.
I felt like a
Nice.
king. It was fantastic.
I remember one night we had some little real estate group party here, and this was back in the old days when the metal sign was out here. But
wow.
we might have stayed after hours.
No.
A handful of us did. And the next morning, Jane Hay walks in the lounge here and goes, "Yeah, heard this party went kind of late last night." And looks at her and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." We might have closed the patio down. So, but he would be sitting there all the time. So,
Chairman of the board, man. It's personalities and the networking and you can always, if you have a question, you call. I mean, of course I call Jay with commercial questions quite a bit. His son. So we all network with one another to create this little force majeure of this accumulated knowledge base to bring it to bear on the market and get what's right for our clients.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it goes down the line. Like someone taught you, you teach someone, they teach someone. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And it's a reviewer every time you get a,
sure. Yeah. And really it's a compliment if someone calls and asks your opinion. I think that is value.
What does it say if you offer that, but no one ever calls?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like I have like the
Thanks,
same few
Kelly.
people that like will ask stuff. And it's usually like
Did I get you with that one, Wade? I justify it by
doesn't even
saying
read
that
my emails.
Eric Pedigo would love if people would call him and ask him advice.
I'm just
Disclaimer.
It's a joke.
Call Eric Pedigo.
please don't. I'm very busy. But I feel like, I mean, for one, I was just joking. It doesn't not happen ever, but I give a lot of my thoughts and advice out every week on here, and
whether anyone's listening or not.
the downloads say that
It's
sometimes,
good. All right.
sometimes up
It's
to
just
it,
me.
sometimes up
It's
to
me
a dozen.
in the grocery store. It's just me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I put my AirPods in so weirdos won't talk to me at the store, and I'm
That's
like, I'll
smart.
listen to Eric Pedigo's podcast.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It works.
Wade, you should.
If you
should
want
listen.
weirdos not to talk to you at the store, put your AirPods in.
Yeah.
And then you just put your head down and you just go.
A T-shirt that says "Don't bother me, I'm listening to Pedigo."
Oh,
You need some. There's your marketing.
merch. Chad,
The store will be out next week.
design me a shirt. So
The email will come out with a link to the merch store next week.
don't bother me, weirdo. I'm listening to Eric Pedigo's podcast. No, I always have
Registered.
one earbud in when I'm out shopping.
You got to
So,
put two of them in.
that's too much. I need to.
yeah.
I need to be able to.
Creepy guys won't talk to you if you put two
Well.
of them in. So,
I do get talked to by a lot of creepy guys.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly people I
I haven't
know
been to
already.
Walmart
Yeah,
on
it's
the north end since
just friends of
September
mine that I
of
run
last
into.
September of last year was the last time I went to Walmart on the
Really?
north end. Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing
Creepies.
that happens?
Creepies.
That's
Uh-huh. Yeah.
the epicenter
Always.
of creep behavior. All right.
Always. Yeah. So
right.
I'm just like, I'm just going to avoid that place.
Let's tackle one more topic here, if you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
Unless you got somewhere to be.
I got nothing.
I always have
good?
somewhere to be.
You got-
Same.
I'm busy.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Same.
got 6 listing appointments today.
Do you really?
No.
Oh, I was like, girl, that's awesome. So, touched on earlier when I mentioned the new construction and what I got for that as a buyer's agent because I asked for it.
Right.
So
That's part of your offer. Yeah.
with these new rules in place where when we write our offer as a buyer's agent, we have to request from the seller our compensation. Obviously, it's not listed and advertised anymore. I take that as, okay, good. Now I can't be told what I'm worth. I get to.
I love it.
I get to state it and request it. And so since then, since the changes have taken place, personally, I have made quite a bit more as a buyer's agent than I did before, because I learned after one or two times to quit asking.
I don't ask either.
I never ask. I never
Right.
make the phone call. I never say, what
Agree.
co-op are you paying?
I don't
Agree.
either.
So you guys just write the offer and ask for what you ask for.
I do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do. And I haven't come across, and I was going to ask you guys this too. Have you lost a deal because another agent on another one took
Not that I know of.
1.5 or
Yeah.
2? Because I know that was the concern when this started, was like that all of us would start undercutting each other to
Yes.
win deals.
I lost a deal because the other buyer paid their agent directly.
Okay.
I'm sure they got paid what I was asking.
Sure.
They just got paid directly by
Yeah.
their buyer.
Right.
And my buyer was in a position to do that. And it was a fair deal. So well, there you go.
Sure.
They had more money. They also brought every other damn thing you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Sure.
They brought
So it's
everything
something
but a
you-
free RV.
Yeah, you
know?
can't compete with it.
No.
I mean, kind of what we started the show off with was just, there's just some things like you're like, okay, I can't compete with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And that's it. You know, I think as a listing agent, our job is to always have our seller focus on bottom line. This is what you're walking away with. Here are the offers. You plug in all the numbers from this one, you're getting this amount, all the numbers from this one. I mean, because it can be so easy for sellers to lock in on a percentage and not really factor in anything else,
Right.
It's when you're side note, like when you know somebody who's determined to list, to go for sale by owner because they just don't want to pay that percentage. And so then they start up here and nobody buys it, and then they drop it, and they drop it, then they drop it, then they drop it, and they've been on the market for 6 months and they've dropped their price, $40,000.
And now they want to hire a guy.
But they're still locked in on not paying that percentage. And you just go, percentage of what? You don't have, nobody's buying your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are you so concerned about the percentage when you need to be concerned with putting money in your pocket? So that's a side note, but when it's important, I think, for listing agents to make sure they're going through that. And then if a situation like yours, Wade, where the buyer was paying their own agent and you lost a deal because of that, did they come back to you and say, hey, here's this scenario, the offers are close, but this buyer's paying their agent, so the walkaway's higher. Would your buyer come up to this amount? So
We were so out of there.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't even. I
Yeah.
want to say they were bringing like cash, no financing.
Oh, yeah.
They're just stroking checks to make the thing happen.
Yeah.
So when you're stroking checks to make a thing happen, that's
Yeah, you're not competing.
a juggernaut. You're not going to win against that.
To kind of answer that question, though, I haven't had it yet where somebody has cut their commission as a buyer's agent just altogether, and then I lost out because I won't do that.
When I've been on the end of I'm the seller's agent and I'm receiving offers, I haven't seen it either.
Right.
And I appreciate that everyone is kind of arm in arm in that issue, being like, hey, we're worth what we're asking
Sure.
for, and we're all gonna do that.
So far.
Yes, but it was a concern last year before when
Yeah.
it was starting to happen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, some of these agents that maybe,
They still got bills to pay. It's
sure, but they may not be as motivated
Yeah.
as some young person that is starting a family, and and they're trying to put deals together and and there's more seasoned agents that can be like, oh, okay, well, I can get away with asking for 1% on this one, because I've been showing them houses for 8 months and I'm ready to be done with it. But I was kind of expecting a little more of that, and I'm really glad that hasn't been.
Yeah. I mean, so far, right? And it's the reality exists that we could get to that point somewhere down the line where that's happening, and if it does,
anything's possible.
Exactly.
But I think that those models basically have proven. Look, it costs. You got to pay your bills. I mean, we have overheads like everybody else, and we have house payments to make, and our health insurance premiums. I do. You just put it in the bank. Apparently, I have health insurance premiums. I'm never going to be able to use them, but whatever. Anyway, everyone has, and so you can work that out discount model until you just can't afford to be doing it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which just going to sneak up pretty darn quick anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it also sets a precedence too for anyone that refers you too, I think. You have a hard time standing next to two friends and being like, oh, I took this for you and I didn't for the other. And
Yeah.
I'm always glad to do a thing which makes sense for a buyer or a seller that actually helps them in the transaction.
absolutely.
If there's a deal where something's crazy and everyone's overworked and underpaid, and we've got an electrical issue, and I've bought and sold 3 or 4 houses with these folks. Heck yes, I'm going to be the guy that steps up. I'm going to pay $600 for that electrician to do this thing.
I've done the same.
What happened to that bill? It's I took care of it. Oh my God, really? Yeah.
I've done the same.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or you have client bringing money to closing, and
Yeah.
that's no fun either.
Right.
It just makes sense for everyone involved, and they appreciate the.
Yes. I do that in those instances, and I feel confident being like, you have to treat every client. You can't treat every single client, every situation the exact same.
No.
They're not the exact same. They all have different walks of life. They have different things that are involved, and you have to treat it accordingly. So, there are times where I do things like that, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not gonna make this $1,000 that I thought I was going to. You know what? But like my client is relieved or happy, and they will refer me business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll make it
Yeah.
up eventually, I feel like. So
Just hopefully with that referral, they don't go, you got to work with Kelly. 'cause
This gal
she'll kick in
discounts.
$1,000. Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing about referrals is when I get, you get the slap on the back and the gold stars from your clients who say, you know what I liked about you? You got the thing done and you barely
That's
bugged
it.
me. You barely,
That's
I barely
it.
had to talk to you. And then 2 days later, it's like you stayed in touch. You
Yeah.
were there every moment of the,
Yeah.
and then what that is that you're crafting your presence in
yeah.
properly for each of those particular clients' needs.
And that's what I mean
And
by
that's
when
what we
you're
need
like
to be able to do.
the $1,000. It's not necessarily that I discounted that. It was like, all right, you had to bring this to closing. I helped
Yes.
alleviate some of that.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I still was paid for my job, and but so
We've all had to, to keep deals together sometimes to make everybody happy and
yeah.
to keep everything from just falling apart. I mean, we've all had to make some concessions. That's part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes a marriage.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. A marriage together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you guys mow grass and pull weeds. I mean, that's what you guys do. So as a listing agent, when you get the call that says, what are you offering for a co-op? Now, we can't throw out specific numbers or Mike will get upset. But
This isn't
Is he going to come in here?
no, I'm just saying, I mean, he's been on before.
We're not selling anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But you get a call and say, what are you guys offering for a co-op? Do you answer that question or do you just say, hey, bring an offer and ask for what you want?
I
What do
usually,
you think you're worth?
yeah, it depends. What do you want? What are you wanting? I usually answer because I already
Yeah.
have a listing contract signed that says I'm charging this and I'm giving this to a cooperating agent.
Sure.
Correct? So
It
I feel
does
like
say
that is that. So I say, this is what I'm offering. You're welcome to ask for something differently.
Right.
They can ask for more. They can ask for less. But I say, this is what my seller is offering.
Right.
So if I have a phone call, I'm not putting it out there. I'm not advertising
Which
it.
we can't, right? We can't
So-
advertise it. That's
Yes. But I
the
mean,
law.
like, even you see just company emails go out and it
Yeah.
says seller offering this. I
Yep.
don't even do that
Me
because
neither.
I'm literally like, I'm not going to promise that. It might be different. Something might change. It might depend on the offer.
Yeah.
So it might depend.
Exactly right.
It might depend on the offer. And so I'm like, I'm not, I'll say this is what I have the listing contract for this price. But
Within our office, we're all familiar with office policy, and so it doesn't really have to be asked as much within our office, assuming everybody is following policy.
Sure.
Which most people do. But you'll get a call from an agent from another company. What are you offering as a co-op? Now it says right there on the listing contract in bold caps now that seller understands that real estate commissions are not set by law and are fully negotiable. Yeah. Big caps, right? So when we go in and we say it's got to be this amount company policy, that's as far down as it is negotiable. That's what I tell them. But here's what I say. An offer may very well come in that doesn't request this number that you agreed to pay the other agent. It very well, the likelihood small, but it could happen. And so what I'm asking you to do is be willing to pay this amount.
yes.
But with the knowledge that an offer might come in that doesn't ask for that. And so if an agent from another company or any agent really calls me and says, what are you offering? And I say, just make an offer and request what you want to request. Because if their buyer agency agreement is for less than we're offering, then that's what they're going to request. But if I tell them we're offering this, well, they're going to go adjust their buyer agency agreement
I think
to reflect that.
I
And-
think by almost not saying, then that agent's like, oh gosh, like, do I need to put something less to compete? And I'm like, ugh, like I don't want someone to take less when I know that the seller has agreed to this, but if they need to do that to compete for their client, then
Sure.
that's
And you can't do anything which also then compromise the interest of your seller.
Yeah, because ultimately that's who we're looking out
even
for,
a dollar.
right?
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, as much as we all
Yes.
love each other and we want other realtors to do well, our number one obligation is to our seller.
sure.
So if there's a way that somebody's going to write an offer and ask for a little bit less and put more money in my seller's pocket,
Sure. And that's
You
why
know.
I just word it and say this is what we have on the
Yeah.
contract for the, but
And that might be a way to listen. And you can, and again, the beauty of the it's all negotiable model, which it's always been negotiable.
Yes.
It's just now there's a form for that. That's really the difference. If someone's going to come and they're going to say, look, I'm going to ask for a 2 and my buyer's going to pay me 1. And that gives them now they've got an advantage
Sure.
and they're negotiating.
yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's just, I don't see a problem answering it if they ask me, but I've noticed that really I don't get that much anymore.
Not as much. It was-
Handful,
yeah.
maybe. Are you offering a co-op?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I say. Yes.
make an offer.
We are. So if they ask, what are you offering? Then I'm like, all right, well, this is what I have written. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
That's good. We'll end it on some good commission talk because that's not dangerous at all. Guys, this was a lot of fun. I think this went well. I appreciate you being the first two to join me on
Yeah.
the Realtor Roundtable.
we must be pretty cool to be the first ones.
You're 100% cool. Two of the coolest people I know.
We didn't say any bad words that I know.
You
of,
said
did we?
2.
Did I?
Yeah,
You
I did
counted?
not.
but it's fine.
You
I said
counted?
no, yeah,
What a jerk.
He'll bleep it out.
I'm not.
No, absolutely not. I hope not.
That's all right.
There was a couple times I stopped myself. I was like, stop.
Keki said the worst one.
She did. She was a little sailor on hers. I was dying laughing.
Was it polysyllabic?
And hey, chat.
Chad, tell me.
What does polysyllabic mean?
I listened to Kaki's and I texted her afterwards and I was like, I am dying.
She's hilarious.
I was dying laughing.
Jamie Winchester dropped
funny.
a swear word too in here.
She would.
Yeah.
She's poly pure heart. She's pure as a driven snow. She would never do such a thing.
Yeah, she would.
Well, you have to listen to that one, Wade, and tell me what you think.
She might have brought you up a couple times.
That would do it.
All right, guys.
I'm
I'm
kidding.
going to let Kelly get to her 6 listing appointments today.
Dang.
And Wade and I will just sit back
We
and
wish, right?
We're going to go stalk. and
wait
then
for
we're
new agents to
sneaking-
call us and ask for advice.
You guys are gonna
sneaking.
follow
We're going
me.
to knock those doors behind her, and then we're going to
Then I'd
offer
be
to
like-
do the work for less money.
We'll mow your grass.
We'll mow your grass.
I'll solder you on.
Team.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank
That was
you.
fun.
I love this theme song.
I'll send it to you.